Acro Yoga Festival in Oakland at the historic Suites Ballroom. It's an amazing event. What's happening is it has been inspired by the Dutch Acrobatics Festival. It's an amazing gathering of really acrobatic tribes of people from all over the world. And it's a 3-day festival that just brings together all these different teachers and students and dynamic levels of training, but also everywhere from beginning to intermediate to really super advanced.
Well, the way that we set up the schedule, we had specific time frames that were dynamic and other time frames that were therapeutic. And so when there was acrobatics happening, we partnered that with the circus yoga and with the flying and all the elements that were more engaging for the body. And then we balanced that in the afternoons with therapeutic sessions where people received Thai massage, they did therapeutic yoga, they did practices that brought them back down to the earth.
All classes are happening simultaneously in one big space. So you can go to one class, and if it works for you, you hang out there, and if you're free at any moment to go to another space. The goal is to have classes for all levels of experience, so you really get a very broad spectrum of what the practice is, and you can choose to be at your level at any given moment. I really enjoy that format. I think it's very empowering for the individual, and at the same time it builds a lot of community because wherever you are in the room, you can feel the whole room. You can admire and see what's going on all around you.
So I think Divine Play started when we met. We started playing, and Jenny put me into some therapeutic flying. I held her in a handstand in my hands, and from that moment we were so lit up by the possibilities of what could happen when we blend our passions and what we love to do. And we would go and just play, and we would just jam. And from that childlike, innocent, open, playful spirit, all of this work started to come through us, and we both had a lot of foundation in different lineages, but really what the newness was when we were doing things that neither of us had ever done before nor been taught before, and it created this whole vein of just exploring. So this is where the spirit of the festival came from.
I find in this hula of teachers, we're constantly evolving, we're constantly as yoga practitioners, yoga teachers, putting ourselves in a place of wanting to learn new techniques, wanting to expand and evolve how we teach, what we teach, how we make it more accessible and more edible. And so coming to something like this, you know, Lindsay and I might teach the exact same thing, but we're never going to teach it in the same way. So I love to see just how everyone's doing what they're doing. And being a solo teacher in Santa Barbara right now, I'm not getting to take a lot of class. So this is really, you know, I feel supercharged for the next couple of months.
As a community of teachers, it's like we were all holding hands and all going up together. And then that translated to the acro yoga teachers being students of each other. And I thought that was a really precious and important thing, that we can all switch roles and take our hats off and say, I have so much to offer and you have so much to offer, and to be able to empty our cup to really receive from everyone, and to know that we're all students and we're all teachers and we're all learning from each other, and we're collectively growing this practice together.
There's the two spectrums, the highly engaged, dynamic acrobatic practice, which has a lot of different gradients. At the festival so far, what we're mainly focusing on is acro yoga flying transitions, some of the Icarian. And then our teachers from Holland were sharing more of the Dutch acrobatics techniques and styles. This is going to be more of the standing work. And then you have the Thai massage and the therapeutic flying, which is on the other side, where it's very nurturing and soft. And then yoga is the practice that's the glue between them. So everything that we do can have some vein of the acrobatics or some vein of the therapeutics, like the sun and the moon, and in yoga they call it the hatha practice. So the yoga are the practices that link up these different energies of very solar, very fiery, very dynamic, and very passive, lunar, restorative. There are a lot of bases that are laying on their back, as they get their hamstrings more open, it's going to be easier for them to be a stable, steady support. So there were some yoga classes that specifically dealt with how to open up your hamstrings or how to open up your shoulders. And then we had Supran come in, and she teaches not only the physical practice of Thai massage, but more the deeper spiritual aspects and the meditation practices. One of the most beautiful things for me was having Lu Yi come and teach.
He's our Chinese acrobatics coach.
He usually does very small groups of teaching, and he was teaching to 8 to 10 people at a time, and the types of corrections that he was giving were not only for that student, but he was really trying to explain and instruct all the people there, all the subtle nuances that he's been collecting for the past 50 years. So I felt like for me, the transmissions that I received from him and just watching how he delivered his wisdom to so many different people that he'd never seen before. So as a community of teachers and leaders, it's really going to move in the direction that we're all individually inspired, and then how we can all come together and collectively share that wisdom. Because of that wide spectrum, you can get really detailed into really interesting niches, where at an immersion or even a teacher training, we have very specific agendas and curriculum that we want to get through.
For any other practitioner that will discover, so many different elements combined together, it's just going to increase your capacity and your skill to be a better body worker, to be a better contact person, to be more aware of the contact, the connection with people.
This is a festival, very much a physical festival, so it's focused more on the body and learning these new moves and working together in partnership, whereas other festivals are more about music, like Bhakti Fest. It's much more about the kirtan and the bhakti, the love, feeling the connection in that way. Wanderlust is also yoga, but it's not this specific as acro yoga.
And it's a tactile experience. It's a tactile, you have to feel it with your body, so you can only talk through it so much and think about it so much. At some point you have to stop thinking about it and feel it and do it. I felt much safer here than I did at the Dutch Acro Festival, because there's also a language barrier, but they just throw you up and stuff. And here, we talk about it, everybody's on the same page, there's a spotter, and then you do it. So you feel safer.
So you're here, you're learning from Jason and Jenny's gurus. If you think you love acro yoga from a class or a workshop that you've taken, imagine that you're here and there's over 40 certified acro yoga teachers sharing with you what they know best, their specialties, plus Jason and Jenny doing that, plus their Chinese acrobatic coach, Master Louis, fine-tuning handstands. And we had guest performers performing kirtan for us. We really had a great mix of everything that feeds acro yoga.
Karma we call male and masculine encoding, because karma determines and reduces. Karma takes us to a point and breaks us through. That is, we arrive at the solution, we arrive at the conclusion, and at that conclusion we know we will break through to the other side. But Leela is feminine encoding, because Leela, instead of making things happen, because that would be cause and effect, probability, that would be consequence. Instead of making things happen, Leela tells us that we have to receive the possibility that anything can happen.
You get lost in that moment, and there's a sense of timelessness and flow, and then you step back out and you go, wow, I feel like I've expanded myself, and that I need a little kind of integration time to kind of refigure out or remember who I am.
So I love that the festival has acro yoga as a platform for all kinds of issues that also affect the community, like traveling and different issues about health with the body, and musical performances and chanting, and makes me really excited about the possibilities of the way acro yoga can be applied.
Acro yoga has reacquainted me with that whole childhood play that I've lacked, or missed for so long. I'm a 45-year-old builder, and I'm not accustomed to playing in such a way.
Where I practice in Montreal, I have to say there's not as much like people wearing, what do you call these things? Bindis, and wearing jewelry while they're doing acro yoga. And I thought that's quite unique and quite beautiful, that people trust themselves
and their partner so much that they can wear long earrings.
Switzerland, many people, the culture is not a really warm culture. People are not closely connected or comfortable, and for acro-yoga they can open up and be comfortable just giving a hug. For a Swiss person to give a hug is like torturing, you know?
I practice in Central America, in my country, Costa Rica, and people just love it. Love it. And I know each time there's people teaching in Central America, Latin America, Colombia, Peru, Argentina. Now acro-yoga, it's all around America, from north to south.
Flying is such a gift, and when you give it, you get so much in return. So it's this constant cycle of giving and getting, and when you teach someone how to do this and how to give the gift of flying, I think it's one of the most beautiful things you can give someone because it changes their lives, literally.
To drop into the therapeutics and the Thai massage piece, especially that first day, the full intensive, it just really settled the practice for me and made me understand it on a much deeper level.
And I really can't put it into words, but it really changed. It changed me because I'm so jazzed about it. I want more. It's so juicy.
I really feel like the kinesthetic practice can offer us so much about understanding who we are and where our edges are and how we can relate to one another beyond verbal.
In acro-yoga, we're not focused on getting the trick, which is a lot of what you might find in a regular acrobatics class. We focus a lot on the process of learning and being and exploring and communicating more than achieving some final product or result. So for me, that's part of the meditative, introspective, transformational aspect of what we do in acro-yoga, which is using our partner as a mirror. And that mirror shows us more specifically and in vivid color who we are and how we are interacting with the world around us.
We dropped a great big love bomb here in Oakland, and the reverberations of that have been felt as everyone went back home to their communities, and they've shared it in their own personal ways. And those are the kinds of things that I'm hearing from people, that they came here, they had a profound experience, and what they brought back was this feeling that we can all connect in so many ways.
So many people playing together.
It's fun to look around the room in the middle of a session and see like people popping up and down, and then other people doing lots of V-ups or other things, and people are just playing all around.
And this is a giant U.S. acrobatic family reunion. Like, we've known most of these people off and on for 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years, and now we all get to see each other and hang out and play.
The body doesn't lie, so when you're laying down and you're supporting someone else's weight, you learn very quickly, oh, is it difficult to trust myself? Is it difficult to trust another person? So all of the existential questions of the universe come very alive in our bodies and in our relationships, and I think it's a really great tool to work with for our own development and evolution.
I feel like this practice itself is evolving in a great way at this time, because it's really connecting people to each other in the community, and we're learning that yoga doesn't have to be such a solitary practice that I'm standing on my own mat and I'm silent, I'm doing my own practice, and then I go home. It's like, hey, I can play with other people, I can lift them up, they can help lift me up, and we can grow together.